it's great to be back in Canton. Great to be with the Sherrod family, the iron workers. Thank you. What the iron workers and the building trades do right, they take care of their members, they provide health and welfare and safety and pensions, and make a huge difference in fighting for the middle class. And in the last several years, iron workers and laborers and steel workers and sheet metal workers and plumbers and pipe fitters are back at work. So thank you for all making this economy better. Now, I'm going to introduce Bill Clinton in a moment, but before I do, I want to say a couple of things. I had the privilege of addressing the Democratic National Convention on about an hour before Chelsea came out and introduced her mother. And one of the things I said is that I wanted to make the distinction between what we in Middle America and you as working families, what you stand for and what Donald Trump stands for. And I've heard Donald Trump say, "Make America great again." I've heard all this stuff, you've all heard it. But when I went on the floor of the convention in front of 20,000 people, I started off by saying this suit I wear is made by union workers 11 miles from my house in Canton. Donald Trump outsources his suits to China and Mexico. I talked about Donald Trump outsources his furniture to the Middle East, and you can buy that furniture in Archibald, Ohio. Donald Trump outsources his glassware, his tableware to Southern Europe. You can buy that in Toledo, the glass city. And now we find out, as President Clinton and I were talking about in some detail on the way over here, we see what Trump's doing with construction. Trump bought his steel. He already knew it was illegal dumped steel, meaning it was subsidized by the Communist Chinese government. He bought that from China. He could have bought that steel from Canton, or Youngstown, or Lorraine, or from Strickland, or from here. And Trump, for his construction projects, bought aluminum, again from China, again subsidized, again illegal trade, and he knew it. And he could have bought that aluminum from Cleveland or from Wellsville, Ohio. He knew that. So this is a guy, Donald Trump is a man who, it's always about Donald Trump. It's always about him. He cheats on his taxes. He stiffs his contractors. He doesn't pay his workers. He outsources his production. It's always about Donald Trump. It's never about working Americans.
He's a thief and a crook.
The only thing made in America by Donald Trump is his hat that says "Make America Great Again." That's about it. Now, when you think about this, when you think about what this man stands for, and you think about who Hillary Clinton is. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump says, "I'm going to tear up all these trade agreements because they're a bad idea." Well, I came to Congress in the early 90s. I fought against NAFTA and PNTR with China and the Central American Free Trade Agreement, and now the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I didn't once see Donald Trump standing up and speaking out against these trade agreements. Donald Trump, all he does is run his mouth and pad his pockets. That's the bad news. We know why we don't want him in the White House. We don't want a guy that gets up in the middle of the night. Imagine an adult, a 70-year-old man, getting up in the middle of the night, so angry about somebody that slighted him, he has to chase every rabbit down the hole. Imagine somebody slighting him, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, as a 70-year-old, you're still so angry, you're sending out tweets slamming and making fun of a beauty queen. Imagine that. But that's him. Let's talk about Hillary. But I want to talk about Hillary in terms of what Democrats have done in this state, in this country. When Bill Clinton was president from 1992 to 2000, I just came to the House. My first day in office was 2 weeks before he took office in 1993. Bill Clinton was president those 8 years. We grew this country 21 million private sector jobs. 21 million private sector jobs. And that includes Canton, that includes Alliance, that includes Massillon, that includes Akron, that includes Greene, that includes Strasburg, everywhere in this.
Northeast Ohio.
21 million, Northeast Ohio, 21 million private sector jobs. George Bush's 8 years, Zero net private sector jobs. Zero. 21 million, 8 years, zero private sector jobs under George Bush. Those are facts. The reason is George Bush tried trickle-down economics. Bill Clinton understood to build the economy by supporting the middle class, and it grows out from there. George Bush, tax cuts to the richest people, trickles down. It didn't trickle down. Between 2000 and 2010, this country lost 5 million manufacturing jobs, 60,000 plants closed, 2010. From the day the auto rescue was signed and the Recovery Act was signed under President Obama, we've had job growth for 79 consecutive months. We have seen hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs come back, and we know that's what Hillary Clinton will fight for. I've worked with Secretary Clinton. I worked with her in the Senate. Her office was right across the hall from me in my first 2 years in the Senate. I learned from her. She taught me a lot about how to serve a large, industrial, complicated state like New York and Ohio. I've watched her up close and talked with her about trade policy and manufacturing policy, and you know how I've had your back and fought on manufacturing and trade issues on behalf of workers, good paid union jobs in Ohio, good paid union jobs in Ohio, and fought for stronger trade unions, and walk picket lines to help organize and work with the potential bargaining unit to get people to vote in unions, to work with employers to try to get card check, all those things we need to do to build this labor movement. Hillary will be right there with us on that. Now the last thing I'll say is, look at this race for a moment. Just look at the two candidates. And you've got the least qualified person to run for president in our lifetimes, and you've got the best qualified person to run for president. The best qualified person to run for president. She is ready. She is ready to build. You know, our economic growth has been pretty good, but wages aren't going up enough. And Hillary's got, you know, she's going to make sure we raise the minimum wage. She's going to make sure we do equal pay for women. She's going to make sure we have a tax system that rewards work and rewards low-income workers, so that their income, so that they can join the middle class. That's what she's all about. That's what Bill Clinton was all about. It's my honor to introduce the former President of the United States and soon to be the first gentleman of the United States,